At KSMO Radio, your hometown radio station, 30 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on your second Tuesday of the month. And that is like automatic. It means it's Inter-County Day.
It is.
And Heather's made it back in.
I have made it back.
Did you have a good Veterans Day?
Yeah, it was nice to have that extra day and kind of remember those who have served and kind of just a day to remember not to take for granted the freedoms that we have. So it was good.
It's easy to do that, isn't it? It's easy to go through your everyday life. You don't really worry too much about this or that. You know, it's how you get there. You got a job to do. You go to a job. It's mundane or whatever. You know, it might be a fantastic job, but it might be mundane. Whatever it might be, you know what? At least you have a job to go to. At least you can get there. At least you can enjoy the time after your job.
That's right.
You know, there are a lot of things to be thankful for in our nation. Really is. Anyway, very good. So I'm glad you had a very good Veterans Day. So now that holiday's over,
back to work.
We've got a lot of things going on in the county electric. I'm telling you, first off, we had a little flooding.
We had a lot of little flooding.
Yeah, well, okay. In a lot of different areas. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
So you want to just kind of touch base and update everybody on it, if you would?
Yeah. So we had several areas in our service territory that were affected by flooding. Montauk, just kind of right next door to you guys, was one of them.
Deluged.
Yeah, there's so much rain so fast. And you had to, I was going to say hiding under a rock, but you couldn't hide under a rock. You would have been flooded.
The rock would have moved.
The rock would have moved. But it's unlikely you've not heard about the flooding. Bridges were closed. Bridges were ruined. We had areas that down kind of close to the East Gate, Fort Leonard Wood, down the Spring Creek area, we had some members that were out for a couple of days. We just couldn't get to them. We had to wait for the water to go down, and so kind of different. You think about outages, and you think about tornadoes or ice storms, and flooding is one of those things that you're like, oh, but it's Texas County, it's Dayton County, like shouldn't be much of a problem. But
there's a lot of low areas in Texas County. Like the Piney Rivers are just terrible.
Yep.
And they flood. It doesn't take 3 inches of water to get them to flood.
Right.
10 to 13, you don't even want to see it.
Yeah. So our guys adapted, and the rain gear came out, and you gotta think creatively. Water and electricity don't mix. You want to get everybody's power back on, but safety is always the priority. So, kind of different working conditions that day. You get up and you go to work, and the goal is still to get everyone's power back on, but you got to kind of adapt. And when you cannot get to a place because it's flooded,
it's underwater, it's hard to get there.
It's hard to get there.
And let's put it bluntly, it's still going to take a few days after the rains stop and the water subsides, however you want to say it.
Yeah. To even find the damage.
The truck can't get in there for 3 or 4 days. I know my yard, I walked in the backyard, and if you mow holes, it went down about 5 to 8 inches, just because there's nothing there except water, and it hit it and squish everywhere out, and you sink. Well, can you imagine a 2-ton truck trying to go through your yard with that kind of sogginess? I don't want to see those ruts.
Yeah, we had some stuck trucks. That was something that we had during that, but...
And some areas are going to be softer than others. That's just the way the topography of Missouri is. We do grow really good rocks here in Dan County. The problem is that there's some soil in between, and if you get in between those rocks, you're probably going to sink.
Yeah, and then you got to worry about what damage the water caused. Not just water damage, but when the rivers are up and the bridges are covered, there's stuff that gets carried down, big stuff that gets carried down.
Limbs, trees,
and
furniture, everything.
Campers, we saw some.
Oh, yeah, houses, yes.
So stuff that gets pushed down this new river, this new widened, used to be a road river, that when that comes into contact with our poles, of course, you can imagine there were broken poles. But a lot of that damage you don't know until the water goes down.
And I guess the one good thing is we didn't have a tremendous amount of wind in our area. We had
That's
some
true.
areas.
That's true.
Mountain Grove, the area, did have some wind. They had some badness.
They were under
down there, and so
yeah.
did Ava around that area. But for the most part, for the entire covered area of Intercounty, I would say probably fairly little wind damage.
Yeah, we were lucky with the amount of wind, because the wind with all that rain would have, I mean, it would have been worse than what it already was. So, yeah.
Could just push poles over in the rain. Much as deep as it got and as long as it lasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty well saturated. So, anyhow, well, thank you for the update and just kind of keeping us informed. But, you know, the thing is, weather's weather. It can be, you know, winter, spring, summer, fall. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Could be rain, could be snow, could be, you know, we had drought in there as well, but the drought doesn't do too much for the electric poles, except one thing, wildfires. And people forget about that. We actually had quite a few fires in the area. As a matter of fact, the Ava sugar fire
I was going to say,
huge.
you mentioned
And
Ava.
did that affect any of Intercounty's substructure down there?
No, we didn't have any issues from that Ava fire, but it is a good point. When there's a drought, you know, when there's a no burn, when there's a burn ban, please abide by that.
It's just not being said to be said.
No, it's really important, and it just takes a little, I mean, flick of anything.
Yeah, it could be
you
a
know.
catalytic converter hitting a piece of brush, and that could start it.
Yeah, but definitely when there's a burn ban, make sure you might have that to-do list and stuff you're trying to check off, but wait to burn the trash, wait to burn the leaves. You think you can keep it contained, but, you know, just a little bit of wind and everything's so dry. Had a conversation with a lady. She was talking, it was during a burn ban, and she was having a bonfire. She was going to have a bonfire because the kids had already invited their friends over, and that was the plan. But they were going to hose down the area next to it, and you're just like, oh, it's there for a reason. So pay attention to those, because maybe it doesn't affect your electricity necessarily, but if it gets up to the house or to structures or to our distribution system, if it gets to poles and equipment, then there is damage there. But
there is a lot of poles that do go through fields, and the fields can burn, and they can get the poles on fire, and a pole could collapse, or the lines could be tarnished from the flames and the heat and
a lot
things
of
of that
damage.
nature. You know, I was listening. They're doing fire reports from California when they had their wildfire. They were having embers blow 3 miles in the wind.
3
Can you
miles.
imagine an ember getting up in the air, blowing 3 miles, and then starting another fire?
How do you contain that?
How do you contain it?
Yeah, 3 miles.
3
That's amazing.
miles. Yeah, I thought, you know, I can understand 300 feet. 3 miles. Holy cow! How do you stop that? You don't.
There's not preventative measure.
No,
I mean,
how do you? There's just, unless you've got some rain in between you and that location, that's not going to happen. Anyway, please be careful out there. We always know that. We've got spring that has gone long past us, and that was actually a fairly mild spring. And then
It
summer
was.
we got into June and had some rain in July, and things stayed nice and green. In September we just got choked out, and there was no water.
Till the end.
And then all the way into October. What we have with 2 days in October of any rain, that was it?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But it is what it is. And now we've got the winter season. It's right around the corner. Heather, we all know what winter has been lately in the last 10, 15 years in this area. It hasn't been snow. It's been ice and sleet.
I was going to say,
Your
sleet,
favorite
freezing
two
rain.
words.
I know, right? I'm so thrilled that you brought them up. You know,
I didn't mean to.
And they cause a lot of damage to a distribution system. They cause a lot of problems on the road. People that have to get out and about, you know, you see an increased number of vehicle accidents. Ice and freezing rain they're not good for anything.
No.
But we especially dread weather forecasts like that. So,
But be aware. Just be aware. If there is some severe weather in the area, hey, this storm that we got here in Denton County just last week, it was only supposed to graze Denton County. And then unfortunately, it just
it
stopped
dumped
over
on you.
Denton County
Yeah.
and just kept, training that rain back and forth over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's got nowhere to go, guys.
Yeah.
Same thing with snow and ice and rain. It's got nowhere to go. And if the ground is absolutely frozen solid, you get rain, you got just the same kind of problem. If you get
Right.
snow and it's a nice fluffy snow, fluffy.
Oh, that would be nice if
Yes.
you were going to get something.
And it would just blow around in the air as you drive by and just up in the air.
And just
really
look pretty.
It would look pretty. Otherwise, it could be sleet that gets nasty and starts to thaw and refreeze. And yeah, okay. You
No.
guys get the picture. I don't need to draw it any worse.
And just remember, even when there's storms like that, the flooding, the ice, whatever it might be, we do have dispatch available 24/7. You can report your outages too, even if it's not during normal business hours. But the Smart Hub app is such a great tool. If you don't have that yet, I would encourage you to download it, but you can report your outages on there and then you don't have to wait on the phone.
Right.
It's connected to your location. You can go in, service status, just update that there's an outage. Make sure your phone number is on there. There's a place to enter it on that screen. A problem that we run into pretty frequently is that people have not updated their phone numbers. And we have a lot of home phone numbers, and not a lot of people have home phone numbers anymore.
But many people in our county still do.
Many do, absolutely. You're absolutely right. But a lot just have cell phones now, or maybe their cell phone numbers changed. And once we have that power back restored, we'd like to be able to call and say, hey,
Sure.
are you good to go? And if we don't have a good phone number, then we're rolling a truck out there and it may not have been needed. So make sure if you do use that Smart Hub app to enter your outage,
But keep it updated.
keep it updated, but it's not like you have to remember to go to another screen. On the screen where you report the outage, there's a field for your phone number.
Sure.
Enter it in there. That way we can call you if we have any questions. Make sure your power's back on, that type of thing.
And Intercounty does not force you to change your password on Smart Hub.
Not that Stan has any ill feelings
Oh, my
towards
God. The
any.
state just did that to me this morning.
Every 4 months or something,
No.
you said?
It's been 5 years.
Oh, well,
And all of a sudden this morning, you must change your password. Enter your old one. Well, if it's been 5 years, guess what? I'm not exactly sure which one it is. And then they give you 3 attempts. And this is a state agency. You got to get a hold of them, right? I mean, you got to
then
have
you're
that
locked out.
report. It's only due at the end of the month, you know. So those little things are just kind of crazy. So I saw that this morning. I thought, oh, sure, I'll just go in there. It'll load everything I need. No, not anymore.
gotta change your password.
Had to change the password. God love them. They're fun people.
You can change yours with Smart Hub if you want
Well,
to.
sure,
okay?
you can change
Yeah.
it, but I mean, it's not
We're not
going to
gonna
be
force you.
You're right in the middle of an outage. You're not going to say, oh, by the way, it's been 21 months and you have to now change your password. I know you don't have electric, so we're going to make it really tough.
Yeah. No, we're not going to do that to
Anyway,
you.
no, they don't change their passwords. You just go ahead and open up your Smart Hub account. A lot of information on there. It is a lot of good shortcuts too. Not only for obviously for Intercounty to be able to get in touch with you, but you can get in touch with Intercounty. You can text them there. I mean, you can actually send them an email. And then you can also go on and just see if your status is active or not active and things of that nature. It's really a nice, fun little tool.
It is. It is. It's a great app. And we talk about it just now about reporting outages, and that's absolutely something you can do. But as you mentioned, you can pay your bills, you can view your usage, you can overlay your usage information with weather information, view past bills. It's been a great tool, unfortunately, for people who have felt like they were on the phone with a phone scam.
Yeah.
And they were told that, hey, you didn't pay your bill, or we didn't get your payment, or hey, we got your check, but you didn't sign it. And they were able to open up the Smart Hub app and see, nope, it's already paid. This is definitely a scam.
If they wouldn't take my payment, why does it say paid in full?
Right. On this date, at this look, you can see all those details. And so it's just it's a great tool. It's a free app that you can download.
Absolutely.
Or you can view on a computer. You can log in
you
from
can
our
do it there
website.
too
So
on your CPU. Yes, you
yep.
can.
So great tool. There's no cost for that. You might, I mean, it doesn't hurt to have it. And I think once you download it and you have it and you use it a couple times, you'll see that it's actually pretty convenient to have.
Very, very nice tool to have. And I'm just not boasting because Heather's there. I have used it probably more in the last year and a half to 2 years than I did before that, just to try and monitor things to help with budgeting and things of that nature. And it really is a nice tool to do that. And don't forget, you can help budget your own electric bill. There's a couple of different ways to do that. Number one, do what I just did. You can watch Smart Hub. You can kind of
Watch
keep
your
an eye on
usage.
it. You can see where it was last year. You can see where it was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You can see where, if you really want to go back and look at some old records, you can. But a lot of people pretty well know what their bill's going to be, and you know it's going to be about this. It's going to be about this. It's going to be about, you don't know. One day gets real hot. Day gets real cool. You're not using as much electric on the cooler day as you would on a hotter day. And then when it gets really cool, you might be using more electric on that really cool day
Because
than
you
you
got
would
the
on a
heat.
regular day. So you're going to be in an approximation area. But if you expect to pay $150 to $170 a month, and it gets too high or too low, you can go research it right there. Doesn't take very long. That's all. And then make a quick phone call or inquire by an email and say, I'm looking at this. Is this right? Or is there something wrong? And then just inquire easily about it.
Yep.
Instead of jumping on the phone and say, I think my bill's too high. Don't. Do some research first. It really is a good tool. So then when you talk to Intercounty, you say, hey, well, look, last year was only this. 2 years ago it was only this. Why would it be so high?
Right.
And they may not have an answer, but they say, well, did you have family and friends over during the month of September for Labor Day? And
Yeah. And
Did-
that's where that daily usage, seeing that overlaid with the weather data is really it's really helpful. It gives you that visual, especially when we're in the time of year where some days it's really hot and some days
yeah.
it's cold. And we've had plenty of people tell us this past month they've had heat on, air on, switch it back to heat, switch it back to air.
Oh, yeah.
They're using both systems sometimes. One lady told us same day. She's got heat on in the morning and air on in the afternoon. And boy, that just really...
It's crazy, isn't
It is crazy, but when you're able to see usage patterns with weather information, it kind of helps. Wintertime, unfortunately, in the cold of winter is when a lot of our members see their highest bills. And sometimes it's that sticker shock. How could my bill be this high? I know it can be this high. But when you have Smart Hub, you're able to see that on those really, really cold days when that temperature is way down low, the usage is way up high, and then, it flip-flops as it gets
You
warmer,
bet.
then you can see that it is weather related, as opposed to maybe my well pump is running all the time, or maybe my water heater element is out, because even on the days where it warms up and it's not as cold, my usage is still really high. That's an indication that it's not weather related, that there's something else.
A subtle warning.
Yes.
It's there. Now, as we mentioned, though, if you want to actually start budgeting for this, and we are getting into the end of the year, a lot of times, Heather, people budget from January through December.
You're
It's a
right.
good time to do that. You may want to consider some other ways that Intercounty has that allows you to budget. One of those is levelized billing.
It is, and it's a really great tool. We've talked about Levelized before, but Levelized billing, what we do is you have to be at your location for at least 12 months, and we find your average usage, and we set your account up so that your payment is that average amount over the next 12 months. What that means is that, the example I just used, that if you have electric heat, you have really high winter bills. Then in the winter, you're going to be paying less than that because you're going to be paying the average. But then in the summer, your bill might be a little bit higher. You're going to be paying a little bit more than what your average is during that time of year. But the goal is for you to have one set amount to pay for 12 months so you know what to budget, how much that electric bill is going to be. And then at the end of the year, the goal is for that to have come out pretty even. There's a lot of factors that can change that, changes in your family. Did you have one of your kids go off to college, or did you have a someone move in, or you added or a hot tub, or you changed your heating and cooling. There's things that can change that average, but the goal is to kind of break even, and then what happens on that 13th month is it's refigured based on what you actually used over the past 12 months, and you're set at a new levelized billing amount.
Or maybe you're going to be at the same level if everything worked out perfect.
It's possible. I don't know if that's ever happened before, but to be exactly to the dollar the same. But I know there's people that are close. They stay right in there in the ballpark. Their habits don't change. Their makeup of their family is the same, and it really is. It's a great budgeting tool because you don't have to worry about the high bills during those months where your usage is normally higher. You budget it. It's levelized, and you know what it is every month.
Now, on your bill, you'll actually see what it was.
Which is important to look at.
And then you'll see an adjustment because of the budget billing or levelized billing, call it what you will. And then you'll see what you're paying. And that really does help out to where you can say, okay, well, wow, did I use a lot of electricity that month, but I'm only paying $110. But I probably should be paying $300. That's what Heather's trying to tell you. That $300 bill is not going to come and slap you in the face because you've got levelized billing. So it's based over 12 months, not just based over a 30-day usage.
Yes. Yep. And we have a lot of members who since it was available, that's what they use, and it's, like I said, a great budgeting tool for them. But as you mentioned, that actual usage is on your bill. It's important to kind of keep an eye on that so that you can see if there's something wrong. We talk about high bills and how can my bill be that high? There's no way I use that usage, and then maybe the well pump it was out. Well, you've caught that the following month because you've at least looked at your bill if you weren't looking at Smart Hub every so often. If you're on levelized billing, it's important to still check in on that usage every now and then because you don't want there to be a problem that just goes on for months that you don't recognize because you're not keeping an eye on what you're actually using.
And then your next levelized billing will be much higher based upon the previous usage.
Right.
So that's something you don't want to have happen. Now, that's a great tool.
Budget. It is.
You have to be an inter-county customer at least 12 months to get your levelized billing because they have to have 12 months to see.
We have to know what your average is.
Did.
Yeah.
Okay. So after 12 months, you're more than welcome to call and find out how to get it, or text or email or.
And you can call and just ask, what would my levelized billing amount be? You don't have to sign a contract before there's some people that I'd like to be on budget billing or levelized billing, but I kind of need to know what would the amount be, and then I'll decide. And we're able to do that. We can calculate it for you right over the phone, and then you can decide. Yeah, go ahead and send me a form, or,
sign me up.
Well, half a year ago, we really had some issues, and we had some high bills, and we've got that figured out now, so we're going to wait a little bit before we go on levelized.
And that's
we've heard that before too.
And that's that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Another way people do help that, because they don't want to get caught in an issue where they may be out of town or on vacation, is have that automatically deducted or automatically paid.
Yep, bank draft. And a lot of people who are on levelized or who are on bank draft, they pair those two together. They go really well together because not only do you know exactly how much it's going to be because you're on levelized billing, but you don't even have to send the check in or make that payment because it's going to be automatically bank drafted, and when and how much every month, and kind of takes the work out of it for you. As far as the member goes, there's not a lot of effort on your part.
Doesn't get much simpler.
It's pretty easy.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always want to remind people that you can do it that way. You can also pay by credit card, so don't think you can't. You can. And that if you are still paying each individual bill, and maybe you're getting a little bit late and you don't want to dare send a check in the mail, because we always know. I've been around for a long time, and I've always remember hearing the checks in the mail. Many times it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it ain't.
Sometimes it is, but you still don't get it.
But here's the thing. It doesn't really matter if it's in the mail. It's when it gets received. And that's kind of a bad thing because, sometimes that mail loses it. It does happen.
It's a possibility.
So and we don't want anybody to get a late notice, but if they don't receive the payment, they can't do anything but send you a late notice, and you might swear on a Holy Bible that you paid the bill, and you probably did. You probably have it off in the mail, but now that our mail goes from Salem to Springfield to who knows where, and then back all the way back to Salem, which makes absolutely no sense. But I won't get on that tangent.
How you really feel, Stan.
I really feel that's such a great idea, But, what I'm saying is the more hands that handle it, the better chance of somebody misplacing it or getting sent to the wrong location. We've all probably experienced it at least once in paying a bill somewhere down the road. I mean, I've even had payments sent to the location that they have on their pay stub, their piece that you send back with your check, and to have me get it returned back to me saying that business doesn't exist.
I had a cousin last year. I sent Christmas cards out around Thanksgiving time, and she got her Christmas card from us on Valentine's Day.
Well, it was a nice Valentine's gift.
In February, yep. So I'm like, well.
Yeah. And
they weren't all like that, but.
No, but
what
happens
happen. To them, I don't know.
Okay, so what happens in between? If you have to pay your bill, Intercounty hasn't received it, so they're going to send you a notice that you need to pay this, and then there's going to be a little late fee, and there's nothing they can do about it. So this is a great way of avoiding that potential.
Yep.
But again, if you normally pay by check, and that's the way you want to pay it, I don't say you can't do that. You can. But if you are doing that, mailing it in, just always beware. Kind of keep an eye on your account to make sure that it clears, or on Smart Hub, and it'll show you right there when it clears. If it doesn't clear by the day it's due, you can do that last second credit card. I mean, all the way up to the last second of the day, and still pay it by credit card.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wait that long.
No. But the pay by phone option it's been well received. Our members appreciate having that ability to make a payment over the phone outside of normal business hours. When our offices close at 5, most people are also getting off work, and it's not till you get home, it's dinner time, and oh my gosh, I forgot to call in and pay, or I forgot to run by and drop that off. So it's nice to have that automated line that's 24/7, so you can call when it's convenient for you.
And that number is... It's not the normal intercounty number now.
It's not. So our pay-by-phone line, that's the automated line, and that number is 855-940-3890.
Now, there's another way that's also a very good budget tool, and that's prepaid electric.
Prepaid, yes. Prepay is a great option for a lot of our members, especially new members, because there's not a security deposit required. And a lot of times when you're moving to a new place, there's a lot of deposits for everything,
First and last.
If you're renting,
insurance,
yes, it's costly to move into a new place. So prepay is a really great option. It's kind of like putting gas in your car. You pay what you can or what you want. And on the Smart Hub app, it's kind of like your gauge. You can see how much you have left. And as you start to get low, you want to make sure you put more on it. If it runs completely out, it runs completely out. That means the power goes off when your balance gets down to 0 or below 0.
Don't let that happen.
Don't let it happen. But if it does, just as soon as you make a payment, it comes back on. Even if it's not normal business hours,
sure.
which is really nice. So, it is also a good budgeting tool because it sort of forces you to keep an eye on your usage. When you're monitoring that, you're making decisions a little bit more informed. Maybe if you see that balance is getting low and your prepay amount that you've got sitting there is getting close to running out, maybe you won't kick the heat up another degree or two. Maybe you'll put a sweater on instead.
Maybe you'll kick the heat down.
Maybe you'll kick it down and grab a lap blanket. We've seen and we've heard our members tell us, And we've had members switch to prepay that are not setting up a new account.
Sure.
They've had a traditional account forever. They've switched to prepay because they said, I want to
Total control.
I want control, and I want to make better decisions. And if I have prepay, I watch it closer.
Right.
And so they switch, they watch it, and they keep an eye on it, and they've lowered their usage because they're looking at, oh, well, how much do I use a day, and what can I do to kind of cut back and make better decisions. So
Yeah, the 4 TVs on through the house, and nobody's there, and the lights are on in every bedroom, and yeah, it's easy to do. You go from one room to another, you turn the light on. While you're in there, maybe doing some work, maybe folding the laundry, you flip the TV on. You leave that, oh, and I got to go out here doing something in the kitchen. You go out there, and that TV's still on, and that light is still on.
right, and you're a little complacent to it when you just get your bill once a month, and then when you get the bill, you're like, man, what did I do? Or I guess that really did, when I had them over and all that extra laundry, or not making the kids turn the lights off or shut the door or whatever it might be. But when you're looking at that on a daily, more of a daily level, you're more likely to make changes to your habits throughout the month.
Much more aware of your
Absolutely.
usage, no doubt
Yep.
about that. So if you're interested in prepaid electric or levelized billing or automatic withdrawals from your account, I'll tell you what, the easiest way to do is to get all that accomplished is just call Intercounty. It's easy. There's a number you can call.
There is. Yep. You can call our toll-free number. It's 866-621-3679, and that'll connect you to our member accounts department. They can take care of that for you.
Right. Now, remember, the credit card number is not the same, and I'll have Heather repeat that one because that one you may need to jot down. That changed about 6 months ago.
It did. Yep. It changed right back just before annual meeting time.
Yeah. Kind of almost ruined something.
It did. It snuck up on us, I guess you could say. But that not prepaid number, the pay by phone number, if you want to make a payment, that number is 855-940-3890.
And if you're not sure which is right for you, well, contact Intercounty.
Yeah,
and
we
just say, explain my different options on the billing here. And because I'd like to follow it more closely. Of course, Smart Hub is a great way to do it, no matter how you want to do it. You can still check out your daily usage.
Absolutely.
On Smart Hub, you don't have to go to the prepaid electric to check out your daily usage.
Yeah.
You must do it when you have your prepaid, but you can still go check your daily usage. It's not that difficult to do on Smart Hub to see how much you're using. So there's a lot of good tools to be used. You put all that stuff together, just take it and just pour it all into the same crock pot and let it simmer for a while. You're going to come up with a real tasty gravy. Let me put it that way. Nice pot roast and tasty gravy with little mashed potatoes.
You can make me hungry.
I know it sounded good already. Anyway, but nonetheless, but it makes your decisions easier. That's what this is all about.
Right.
Always a good thing. Right now, though, Intercounty has a special event going on. It's a woohoo event. It's called their surplus sale.
We do. Yep. We've got a surplus sale, actually, just vehicles. Back in the spring,
It's
we
still
had
surplus.
It is a surplus sale. Back in the spring, we had vehicles and just miscellaneous items inside our auditorium that members could come in. Not just members, the public could come in and take a look at and bid on. But we have 6 different vehicles. We had those in the magazine this past month. That's also should have been in the local paper. I think we had an ad run there. Our website, we've got it on there. So lots of places to kind of see some preliminary information about those vehicles. But if you want to come and look at them, they are at our Intercounty office in Licking. And you could start looking at those at 8 o'clock this morning. And you've got until Friday at 5 to come and look and get a bid sheet and get your bid turned in if you're interested in purchasing any of those.
The neat thing about Intercounty is they keep immaculate records,
We do. Yep.
and they're all available.
They are available.
And so if you want to say, gosh, that's a beautiful truck, but I bet they haven't done anything to it in 3 years. I guarantee you that is not the case.
That is not the case.
And when
Our mechanic will tell you that is not the case.
And when they pull out the records, and it'll be the date and the service done and who did the service, I'm telling you what, it is pretty immaculate if you want to know what you're buying. And it's probably the best investment you're going to make if you want to buy that vehicle, because you know it's been well cared for. It really has.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes those trucks get used a lot. They do. They go from here to there, but
yeah,
they're well maintained.
A lot of miles put on them, but maintenance is kept up on them, and that's important. But do want to mention that the sale is open to the public. It's not just members, despite what I started to say earlier. Anyone can come and take a look at those and put a bid in on them. They are sealed bids, so when you get your bid sheet, there'll be a number on that that's associated with the information you give us when you come in to get that bid sheet. And then you're given an envelope. You put down what you want to bid on which vehicle, seal that up, and then those are locked away until... In this case, we'll accept bids until 5 on Friday, so those won't be open until 8 o'clock Monday morning.
Have time to fester in there.
We'll, we'll get those opened up. We had been closing it at noon on that last day, so we have time to open them. But since this week was a short week anyway, with yesterday being Veterans Day, we wanted to make sure we gave people plenty of time to get those in. So Friday at 5, get them in, and then we'll get them open that following week and get the top bidder for each vehicle called, and then you've got until the end of that week to come and pick it up.
And those vehicles are available to be seen in rural Missouri. So if you didn't get a chance to get over there, and I know I always like hands-on, I like to see the vehicle.
And you're not able to drive it, but you can start it up. We'll have an employee go out with you, and you can sit in it, start it up, take a look at it.
Sure.
We just, insurance reasons, we can't let you.
Well, you can't take
We're not a dealer, so, yeah.
Everyone want to take a test drive, and, well...
Yeah, then you got problems.
You come in there to see that vehicle, and it's gone.
Not a good thing.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But that surplus sale does go on to Friday at 5.
That's right. Yep.
So if you would like to see that, head on over to Licking in person. You want to touch it, feel it, sit in it, smell it, whatever it is that you have to do to buy a vehicle, or bid on one, I should say, not necessarily buy it, but you get a chance to bid on it. Head on over to Intercounty and do that. But otherwise, you can place a bid without seeing it, can't you?
If they wanted to.
Yeah, if they send somebody over, fill out a form, whatever they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, we would need a signature. So if you had a brother come over, then he would get the bid number and he'd take care of it for you.
Get a form for you, sign it, put your bid in. Just got to get in by 5 Friday.
5 Friday. Yep.
5 Friday. That's it.
Yep.
So you don't have to go look at the vehicles. That's what I'm trying to say. But just have somebody pick you up a form and get that submitted. Especially if they're going that way every day.
And don't mail it back.
Don't mail it back. Unless you're FedExing it over that way. But
I would not encourage you to mail it back.
Probably wouldn't do that. Okay. It's November. We got Thanksgiving coming up.
We do.
We got a couple of days that you guys may not be there.
Yep. So we are going to be closed that Thursday and Friday. Thanksgiving, I'm turning to the calendar here, 28th and 29th. It is late.
Late.
Yep, late in the month. So we'll be closed both those days. You can still access all your account information on SmartHub. If you do have an outage or some sort of emergency, just because the office is closed, there is still a dispatcher. We have a dispatcher 24/7. So please don't think, oh, my power went out, I need to wait till Monday.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody thinks that, but...
Right in the middle of a football game. Oh, gosh. No.
Oh, they'll call. Yeah. And most people know that, but just a reminder that there is a dispatcher 24/7. If you have an emergency, you have an outage, call. You'll get somebody, and we've got linemen that are on call even through holidays, nights and weekends. So they are prepared to stay close. That way, if there is some sort of emergency or an outage, that they can still get out there and get your power back on.
There you go. Very good. All right. I think last year was the first year Intercounty helped out with a little bit of this time of year because a lot of people like to go hunting.
Yes.
I think last year was the first year you guys
It was.
participated
Yep,
in Share
it
the
was.
Harvest. You're going to do it again.
We are doing it again, and we're expanding this year. And I was hoping to have a list of processors available, but I don't have that yet. So if you are hunting and you want to donate a deer, Intercounty is participating in Share Your Harvest, which is it's kind of in partnership with Department of Conservation.
Right.
And you can donate your deer. There's no cost to you, the hunter, to donate your deer. And these participating processors, they will then process that deer, and Intercounty then were able to donate that processed meat to food banks in our area, which is really just fantastic. Last year, as you mentioned, it was the first year we did it. We didn't really know how well it would go over. We didn't know how much interest there would be in it, kind of just dipped our toe in a little bit. We ended up having 52 deer processed that were donated through Share Your Harvest, which was just shy of 2,200 pounds of processed meat that was donated, which is huge. Commodities don't always include meat, very rarely.
Not that high protein.
Not that high protein. And so it's really great to know that we were able to donate almost 2,200 pounds of processed meat.
That's
so
fantastic.
This year we said, okay, it actually went over well, so let's expand. And we do have, I think, 5 or 6 different processors, meat processors, that are participating this year. If you're a hunter and you want to do this, I would encourage you to call the office. We can get you in contact with our
Processor closest to you.
Processor closest to you, yeah.
Or if you have a favorite one, see if they're involved.
Yeah, and I would encourage you too, if there's a processor that you normally use, reach out to them and just ask them if they're participating, because Intercounty, we're not the only business that partners with Department of Conservation to make this available. So it might be that maybe they're not partnered with Intercounty, but maybe your processor partners with someone else, and you can use who you traditionally go to anyway. But call the office, call Intercounty. We can let you know which processor will be closest to you. We'll try to get something up on our website this week. It'd probably be a good idea. I'm going to make a note.
Really good ideas.
Yep.
Closing in real quick.
Yep. This weekend. I mean, it's already bow season. So
yeah, youth season also. Be right here before you know it.
Yep. Well, we've had youth season.
One of them.
One of them. Yeah.
So got another one coming.
Yep. So we'll get that information out there. But as I said, just give us a call and we'll put you in contact with the closest one.
Remember, the Share the Harvest is for the entire deer hunting season, which goes into January, and where you have the alternative methods and things of that nature, and special hunts as well. So if you would like to donate your deer, no matter if you do it with an lattice or you do it with your bow, or however, if you want to donate it, and contact Intercounty, and they can tell you the processors that do accept that deer for processing for the Share the Harvest program, which is, there's a lot of sponsors to it now. It used to be Department of Conservation, I believe Farm Bureau. One other one initially was when it first started. I think you have like nine or 10 now that have got involved with it that help sponsor the program. So it's a fantastic program. Really does help out local food banks and pantries. So if you can, or if you've already got your fill of deer, maybe you had a good run, and maybe you're a property owner and you've been overrun with deer, and you get an extra one or two. You don't really need the meat. Donate it.
Yeah, because there's people that do need
it. It is tax deductible, by the way. It is a contribution. It's a donation, so you can do it. You can get a value for that. So, ta-da! Always a good.
Not just free, but
it's not just free, but you get a tax deduction for it.
Good stuff. And you're helping your community.
That's the best part.
Absolutely.
And maybe getting rid of one of those unwelcome guests in your field or in your garden, that might not be welcome all the time.
That's right.
Pretty to look at, but when they start eating all your vegetables,
a little frustrating.
It doesn't make you all that happy sometimes.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, so Share the Harvest, and that's going on now. So you can give them a call and find out more about that. As you mentioned, archery season already underway, and the firearm deer season begins this weekend.
Yeah, Saturday.
Crazy. This weekend. Gets here fast.
It does. Yeah,
Gets
absolutely.
here fast.
We're middle of November almost. Well, this
Well,
week.
it's
Yeah.
closing in on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And like I said, it's so late this year. It's really kind of odd how late it is, but yeah, it still doesn't matter. You're still going to get that deer season in, and then the youth have that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for Thanksgiving weekend for their second part of their youth season. So very good. You got a lot more after that too. The alternative methods. Got some special doe hunts. You got some special hunts. They have like 5 different special hunts this year. Some in the CWD areas only.
I was going to say,
So some of them are very regional.
yeah. Best thing you can do is grab one of their books.
Conservation deer
books.
and turkey book. Yeah, it's probably a real good idea to have that. It is online, by the way, at mdc.mo.gov, and you can find out where those special hunts might be.
Good.
In case you can't make it. What else you got?
Couple of things I wanted to just touch on as we're going into heating season. If you haven't already busted out your space heater, couple of things. First of all, please be mindful of the safety aspect of that. If you've had it put away, make sure that the cord's still good, the plug's still good. Most of them now have the tip, sort of like a tip hazard feature. Make sure
If it falls over,
it shuts off. Make sure that is still working properly so that if it does fall, it turns off. As always, don't leave them running while you're asleep or away from home, or even when you're not in the room. If you're not in the room to need the heat, then turn it off. Because the second part of why I wanted to talk about space heaters is because they use a lot.
Oh my gosh, no, it can't be true.
I know, not if you buy one of the energy efficient ones, right?
Energy efficient space heaters.
Yeah, and you may have one that was marketed to you that way.
Well, I'm sure. There's a lot of them that were marketed that way.
Yes, pennies a day, right? But we can help you calculate the usage
You're
on those.
Underneath your
I am laughing because, but it's sad, Stan, because there's a lot of people that have they will have multiple space heaters on, and then they get this bill and it's just astronomical, and it's heartbreaking because they may not have the money to pay the bill. They didn't have the money to fix the furnace, which is why they were running the space heaters anyway, and it just kind of snowballs. But they were told, "Oh, this is the efficient one. This is the energy efficient one. This one doesn't use a whole lot."
It says 1,500 watts.
And a watt is a watt. Yeah, and so you can call. You can give us the information off of your specific space heater, and we can give you what that will use every hour that it's on, and then help you if you need help doing the math to kind of get a ballpark idea of what that would cost you a day, a month. It really does add up, and we don't want anybody to be surprised when they get their bills. So before you pull those out, make sure that they're safe to use, but make sure you're aware of what that added usage is going to be.
Remember, they're portable, and they're not full-time space heaters.
Right. Temporary use.
Yeah, like a room you only use 3 times a week. Why heat the whole room if you don't need to? But when you need to use the room, you don't want it to be 18 degrees either. So that's why a good thing to have space heaters around for those kind of things. And then you can always open it up and let some of the heat from the rest of the house in. But don't leave that on when you leave the room.
Right. 10 hours a day. If you have a space heater running 10 hours a day over the course of a month, you're looking at an extra $40 on your bill. Extra. On top of what
for
your
each
bill
space heater.
For each space heater, and that's 10 hours a day. It adds up, and if you're in a situation where you're using the space heaters because you don't have another option, because the furnaces went out or whatever your situation might be. I would encourage you, and this is the last thing I wanted to talk about today. I'm wrapping it up, Stan.
Wow.
Roundup is a fantastic program.
I've heard of that program.
I know. It's a great program. It really is. If you feel like you're stuck using space heaters because you cannot afford to get whatever you have fixed, please reach out. That's what Roundup program is there for. Mm-hmm. The money comes from members who do exactly what it sounds like. They round their bill up to that next nearest dollar. And then that spare change, which you or I couldn't do a whole lot with a couple of quarters. But when it's put together with everybody else that's participating, there's some significant money there. And that group, we have 7 volunteer delegates around our service territory.
Great people.
They meet every month. They actually meet the same day we have radio here, the second Tuesday. And they go over applications that they received throughout the prior month. So anybody that had an application in by the last day of October, they're going to review those today. And they're going to be able to help local people that have needs like a furnace repair bill or whatever it might be.
Yeah, they've had, I know they've helped people with pharmaceutical bills. They've helped people with getting new tires.
Mm-hmm. So they can get to work.
So they can get to work or take their kids to school, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different usages except for one, no payment of inter-county electric bills.
Yeah. And some people, they're really shocked when they hear that. They're like, well, why wouldn't you take the money to pay the electric bill? And we just want to be transparent with the program, with the money, with the finances. This program was not started so that intercounty, we could make sure all of our bills got paid. We want that money to be pumped back out into the communities. And realistically, there are other organizations that help with utility bills. There's not a lot of other organizations that can help you with a furnace repair bill or with tires or medications. That's where we're able to kind of step in. If you need help with a utility bill, we'll put you in contact with the organization in your area for that.
You have LIHEAP, you've got churches, you've got other organizations, and South Central Community Action Agency, and for one, has other options besides LIHEAP. And there's a lot of different state programs as well. All the way from, I know Ameren, Missouri has different ones for natural gas, if you are now on natural gas, in addition to what you might have to have for your intercounty bill. So, so you got options out there, but don't be afraid to ask if you are in a position. And Heather, we all find ourselves sometimes in a position where we need help, and sometimes things just seem to avalanche.
They do, yeah. The one who needs new tires probably also could use help with other bills. Maybe they've gotten behind on their rent, or maybe they've got a medical bill.
Kids that got sick.
Yeah, or maybe their furnace is out too. It's just, you sometimes can survive one thing, but when it snowballs and you've got several things hit you at once, any of us could be in a situation where we could need help. Absolutely.
And it's really easy to get a form for the wonderful Roundup program. You don't have to jump through hoops and barrels. It's called, call them and they can fax it to you. They can email it to you, and then you can send that form in. Yep.
We can mail it, email it, fax it if you want it faxed. You can pick it up at any of our offices. We actually have those available on our website. So if you go to IECA.coop, C-O-O-P, it does require a signature. So you're not able to just fill that out electronically and submit it. You'll need to print that out and complete it and get it back to us.
DocuSign it?
No, not this one. No. I mean, that might be coming one day. I don't know.
I hope not. No.
But right now, it is available on our website, but you'll have to have a way to print that out and get it completed.
And then you can send it back. And then, again, that will be for the next month. So if you would submit one today, they'd be reviewing that in December.
Yes.
For the month of November. So
they only meet once a month. And this is something those 7 delegates, they take it very seriously. They contribute to the program too. They are wonderful stewards of that money. They want to make sure it's being spent wisely and it's not being taken advantage of. So when an application is received, it goes to the delegate closest to them, and they research that application. They reach out to the references that are listed. They reach out to the applicant themselves. Sometimes it's hard to put on paper what your situation is, and it gives that
And they'll
individual
talk to you.
an opportunity to talk to him and say, hey, this is kind of what we're going through. This is what's happened. This is what I need help with. And then when the delegates meet once a month, they present the different applications that they received that month, and kind of, here's the story, here's what's going on, here's what they could use help with the most.
And the key word that you said is they do research.
Absolutely.
They do not just take what you put on there. So if you're going to lie about something,
they're going to find out.
They're going to know, and you're not going to get funded. So, that's going to be the bottom line. If you're going to lie about it, just blatantly lie. That's just don't make it. Or if you have a reference that you don't know if they know the situation you're in, you may not want to list that reference. That there's got to be somebody else that does know the situation you're in, because you would hate to have them go talk to a reference and say, I didn't know they're having any issues at all. They didn't talk to me about that. Okay. So, again, if you have close friends, like I said, these people do an incredible job. They will research it, and they will research it very, very tediously, as a matter of fact. But they will get an answer from their research. But make sure you have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and make sure that you put down in your best words that you can what the situation is.
Yeah.
It's not always easy, as Heather said, to describe what's going on.
Right. And it's important to note, too, we have people who sign up for the program. Sometimes they have questions like, well, how does the money get spent? And how do you make sure it's you're not being taken advantage of? The money is not being spent for other purposes. One thing that we do, if you use the example of the tires, if that group approves to purchase tires, then that check is sent directly to the company, the business that those tires are going to be purchased from. That money is allocated to that person. It's for a specific set. That's what it can be used for. If it's for rent, mortgage,
What's your landlord?
That's pretty high up there on the percentage of what we spend money on. Rent and mortgage are kind of top of that list. If it's going to rent or mortgage, that check's going to the bank on behalf of the applicant or to the landlord on behalf of the applicant. So the money is not just handed over to the applicant with the expectation of them using it for what we intended. It's given directly to the business that it needs to be paid to.
For the need that you addressed in your application. That's what it's for.
Right.
Very good. And Roundup is a fantastic program. So, and don't say, well, I'm too proud to do that. That is, I understand everybody has pride, but sometimes you just get overwhelmed.
Yeah. And it's handled
nothing to be ashamed of.
Discreetly. We have one lady in the office that is the coordinator for the program, and then we have the 7 delegates. Those 8 are the only ones that see the application. That is done in a meeting, closed door meeting. It's not just open to where employees are back and forth. So it's handled discreetly. Your delegate is going to reach out directly to you, and they will tell you, hey, I may reach out to your references, or if you're asking for help with rent, we're obviously going to have to contact the landlord to verify the rent amount. But we don't publish names of who we helped or amounts of who we gave how much to. None of that is given out
public
publicly.
Knowledge.
Right.
It's not public knowledge. And speaking of Roundup, you can always make a contribution to Roundup. You don't have to just have your change. If you want to make a contribution to Roundup, you can.
Right. It's a tax tax
deductible.
Yes, thank you. And we occasionally have donations. It's not very frequent that we do, but we do occasionally have donations that are made to Operation Roundup. Something we're seeing is capital credit checks being donated to Operation Roundup. And sometimes it's from situations where maybe a parent has passed and there's 3, 4, 5 siblings, and they said, hey, instead of splitting it up and sending each of us a check,
$3.
just give it to Roundup. Or businesses that have went out of business and they're no longer an entity themselves, and it's like, well, you can't even, how do we even cash a check that's made out to this business? They say, hey, just
set it to stand.
Donate it to Roundup. So that does make a difference. It increases the balance in that account, and that's more that can be used for the community.
Sure. And I know some people who have been helped by Roundup who later on actually made a contribution back.
Yes. Yep. We've had that too.
As a thank you, having that program to bail them out when they needed that help.
Yeah. And that's not necessary at all. So don't feel like you have to do that. But it has, we have had people do that.
Some people feel blessed that is even there for them.
Right.
And that they want to give back to that organization when they get back on their feet. I get it.
Yep.
And it's very noteworthy that those are the very same people that I'm sure feel the same way. If you're in that situation right now, I don't know where to turn. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end. Where do I go from here? And one simple phone call to find out about Roundup can really be a lifesaver. Mm-hmm. Really take a lot of burden off your mind. And at this time of year, Heather, we all know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, there's a lot of things that start playing havoc and stress-natured pressure on parents and grandparents and just individuals themselves, where they feel obligated to do certain family things. And I don't say that's a bad thing, but sometimes you're just in a situation where that just may not be in the cards for you this year.
Yeah.
It just may be.
Yeah. And
hopefully not.
If you do apply, you've really... that delegate is going to be a fantastic resource to help put you in contact with other organizations that can help too. Turning in that Roundup application, we might be able to help you with your rent, but then we're able to get you in contact to where you're able to get some utility assistance. Sure. Maybe there's something else you're needing help with that we know of an organization that can provide some assistance. So it's not always just the help with the one thing, but you've made that contact then that can help you with other things too.
There's many like I mentioned, there's state agencies that do have some programs, and I guarantee you probably don't even know they have them.
Yeah,
and there's some federal agencies that have programs, and I guarantee you again that you probably don't know they have them. They don't publish them in a big book to hand out to everybody and say, when you need help, here's who you turn to. It's not out there. And, and everybody, and I'm not trying to be this mean guy here, but everybody assumes that the internet's always going to tell them what they need to know. And it's not, or if it does tell them that they know it's truthful. And that also is not.
Not always the case.
So be very, very cautious about that. You can research on the internet to find things, and you can go to government agencies and go to the state of Missouri and look for agencies that provide assistance, and you might be able to start diving through those individuals. Now, that's about the only real way to find some of those programs. Not very easy. So again, to use another resource like Roundup, those people are in the know. They do have that information, and they can assist you additional ways, rather not just helping you out with a little bit of money here for this, but helping you possibly get through the winter season with other different resources that are available.
That's right.
God, it's such a great program. I am so glad I started it. Well, maybe I've been around long enough to have started it. I didn't start it, no. But I have seen it before, and it is a great program.
It is. Yep, it really is.
And I was thrilled when Enter County decided to do it. I really was when they first started it. And it struggled for a while.
It did. We struggled to have, we were right around 3,000 members participating for years and years. I mean, we hovered 10 under, 2 over, a dozen under, a dozen over. I mean, we were right at that 3,000 mark for a really long time, but it has really grown. And the last number we had on that, we've got just over 19,000 accounts that participate now. 19,338.
19,000. That's 16,338 more than 3,000. And you can imagine just an average bill of $6
a year.
And how much that 13,000 adds to the
Yeah. It makes a difference, you know,
the total.
And I mentioned there's not a whole lot you or I could do with a couple of quarters because it does average to be about 50 cents a month. You know, some months it's going to be more, some months it's going to be less. But for 50 cents, I can't help somebody with 50 cents. But yours and mine and my neighbors and their neighbors.
Sure.
And when you've got 19,000 people contributing 50 cents a month, that's a good chunk of money that then this group every month when they meet and they have these applications come in or people are needing just a hand up. And it is that. It's not a program that you get on. This is a one-time assistance.
shot.
It's not, hey, I need help with my rent every month. This is, I need help with it this month. And you can do some significant help. You can buy the materials for a wheelchair ramp,
sure.
you know, for somebody that's in need. You can make a couple of mortgage payments or a mortgage payment for a family that's maybe had one of the income earners that was laid off or had an illness and was out of work. You can...
Even car repair. I've seen that happen before where the car repair is over $2,000.
Yeah. And you can make a big difference, and that's important. And that's what the program's for. That's why people are participating. They want to be able to help. So if you need help, if you're hesitant because you're a proud person, please just kind of put that aside. We want to be able to help you. Those 19,000 people want to help you. You might be one that's contributing. Maybe you've been donating to the program.
Sure.
And now you need some assistance from it, and that's okay.
It is okay. Very good. Wonderful thing. Now, one last thing on that. For Roundup, the most you can ever donate, $12.
A year.
And that's if you're on levelized billing.
Right.
A
So
year.
if you're on levelized billing that we talked about earlier, where we set your bill amount to a set amount over the course of the year, that's already going to be an even number. It's going to be $126 or whatever it might be. So if you're on Roundup and you're on levelized, your Roundup amount every month will be an even $1. Otherwise, it's going to be that odd spare change that brings it up to the next even dollar.
There you go. Enough said. That
Good
was
stuff.
great.
Yeah, good program.
Anyway, it's a good and it's a great program, and thanks to all who are participating. And if you're not participating,
Super easy.
super easy. Heather, tell them how super easy it is to become a member of it.
They can check the
Roundup.
box on their bill if they still bring in or send in a paper bill.
Well, that's really easy.
There's a box they can check to sign up for Roundup. If they're in the office or by the office, they can come through, let us know they want to sign up. They can call over the phone and tell us. They can send us a message through Smart Hub. They can actually sign up for it on Smart Hub. So a ton of ways we can get you signed up if you want to contribute.
To help your neighbor.
Yeah. And it stays local.
Well, it stays local.
Yeah. Within Intercounty's outermost boundaries. So if you're within our outermost boundary lines, you're eligible.
Or anywhere in between. Intercounty's really big.
We are big, but the money, when I say it's neighbors helping neighbors, it really is because the money's not going to Kansas City or St. Louis or Springfield or
down to Florida.
No, it is staying within our service territory. It's one of those programs you give to. It's going to help somebody local.
Heather, as always, been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Hope
Thank
you and your family have a wonderful Thanksgiving
And you
holiday.
too.
And we'll be seeing you again in December.
I know, crazy.
The end of the year is almost here.
That's
girl.
crazy.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Just kind of don't blink.
Day at a time.
They tell you not to blink. Kenny Chesney said that in a song, and he is absolutely right. Don't blink. 30 years ago by. Like, what
happened?
Yeah, it does happen that way. But again, we want to thank Heather for coming in. Our friends from Bender County are here every second Tuesday. We do the interview at 8:30. We really get informed about a lot of different things, and thank you for the information on the surplus sale and the Share the Harvest program.
Yeah.
We always appreciate that information, and we always ask of you out there who are listening, take advantage of those programs. You know, the surplus sale is open to anyone. You do not have to be an Intercounty Electric customer or member. And if you might be buying that vehicle, you might be a customer in that case. You wouldn't be a member, possibly.
Well, you'd still be a member.
No,
if
you
you're
wouldn't.
A member.
No, if you're not a member of Intercounty, you can still go bid on that vehicle.
You could bid on the vehicle
That's
and
right.
buy
If
the
you
vehicle.
buy it, then you wouldn't be a member.
You would be a customer.
be a
Okay,
customer.
Stan. I'll give you that one.
I get that one. Not a real high on the point level, but I get that one. And, of course, don't forget this time of year, gang, always think about your neighbors. When we start to get cold, if it starts to get really bad out there,
Yep.
or even with these high waters we've been having, don't ignore your neighbors. Get in touch with them, and
check
please
on 'em.
make sure that they're okay, especially people who are not capable or able to leave their home in a moment's notice. Sometimes that's just not possible, or those with medical issues that simply can't. And it just doesn't hurt to go over to your neighbor and say, how you doing?
Yeah, we got
Everything
to
okay?
watch out for each other.
Yes. This is it's a crazy time with weather and all kinds of stuff out there. So please think of others during this time. I think a lot of people already do. I think we're really in a very good area of the world where people are concerned about their neighbors. And kudos to everybody for that, because there's a lot of places in the world that they could care less.
Yeah, it means a lot.
Heather, always a pleasure
Yeah,
to have
thank
you
you.
come in. Thank you very much. And we want you to keep it right here at KSMO. We have civic happenings coming up very shortly on KSMO Salem, 1340 AM, 95.7 FM. And we've been streaming this interview on KSMORadio.com, KSMO Stream Facebook, and KSMO YouTube.